Hi, y'all.
Hi.
I'm looking for my husband, Henry. And you know, I can never find him when I want him. But when I don't want him, I can't get rid of him. Henry! Henry! Where's Henry?
Liza, do I hear your sweet voice?
Oh, Henry, there you are!
Hello there, Liza. How's it coming?
Oh,
How's
good,
it
I
coming?
need you.
Yes, Liza.
I need to wash off my beans for supper, so can you give me a bucket?
Sure thing, Liza. Anything for a sweetheart for all these years.
Oh, isn't that
Then
sweet?
I'm going to call on Rufus if that's okay.
Sure.
Rufus, are you back there? We need a bucket. Liza has her peelings that she has to get clean.
I'm just getting ready to feed the pigs. You can use it if you need.
Ah, well, this is it.
Good, good.
Liza,
Yeah, Henry?
there's one thing about this bucket.
Yeah, what about it, Henry?
I'm discovering there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza. Dear Liza. A hole in this bucket, dear Liza. A hole.
We'll fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. We'll fix it, dear Henry. Fix it.
Well, with what should I fix it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what should I fix it? Dear Liza, with what?
With a straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry, with a straw. Dear Henry, with a straw.
Oh, Liza, I must call on Rufus again. Rufus, do you have a straw? We need to fix this bucket.
I have a what?
A straw.
What for?
Well, for this bucket. You're bringing me a plunger. I don't think we can use a plunger.
We can cover the hole. Just
Yeah,
like
but
this.
well, how are we going to get that water from going out? We need something a little thinner.
Like maybe straw or something like that?
Yeah, maybe that.
All right.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Hold on, Liza.
Okay, Henry. I'm trying to be
Rufus again.
patient.
Okay,
All right.
so let's try it.
You got it now, Henry?
Liza, Liza.
Yeah,
The
Henry.
straw is too long, dear Liza, dear Liza. The straw is too long, dear Liza. Too long.
Well, cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Cut it, dear Henry. Cut it.
Well, with what should I cut it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what should I cut it, dear Liza? With what?
With an axe, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry, with an axe. Dear Henry, dear Henry, with an axe.
Rufus, do we have an axe back there?
Well, I
We
just
need
need
to
to
cut
cut
this
some wood.
straw.
You want to try to use this?
Yeah, let's try it.
All right. Here you go.
Wait, 1 minute.
Oh, no.
1 minute, Liza.
Hurry up, Henry, I can't wait all day.
Liza,
Yeah, Henry.
this axe is too dull, dear Liza, dear Liza. This axe is too dull, dear Liza, too dull.
We'll sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Sharpen it, dear Henry, sharpen it.
What should I sharpen it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what should I sharpen it, dear Liza? With what?
With an axe, dear Henry. Oh, with a stone, dear Henry. With a stone, dear Henry, with a stone.
Rufus! Do we have a stone back there? We need to sharpen this axe.
Well, I might be able to get you. How about this? That ought to work. Just kind of rub it on that a little bit.
Okay, let's try that.
Good. All right.
Let's try.
Hurry up there, Henry.
Uh-oh.
Do you see any sharpening coming? It's too dry, dear Liza. This axe is too, this stone is too dry, dear Liza, dear Liza. This stone is too dry, dear Liza, too dry.
Well, Henry, wet it. Dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry, wet it.
But with what should I wet it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what should I wet it, dear Liza? With what?
With water, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With water, dear Henry, with water.
Rufus!
Yeah, boss.
We need some water.
Well, yeah, we do. That's true. We're gonna have a little problem there, maybe.
Fetch it with the bucket, Henry, with the
Oh, with
bucket.
the bucket!
Yeah, fetch it
We
with the
can use the
bucket.
bucket to get the water, Rufus.
Yeah, well, I don't think this is gonna work too good.
Oh,
Henry, get the water. For heaven's sakes.
wait. If you don't have another bucket, this is all we have.
Well, use it. Dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry.
Liza, dear Liza, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in this bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. A hole in this bucket, dear Liza. A hole.
Hole in the bucket.
Dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza. A hole.
Avatar.
Mayor Baba TJ. May he drain all the holes in our consciousness, and we may fill him with our precious love that he's given us.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm gonna call to stage a very nervous Joe de Sabatino. Everybody, a huge round of applause for him.
Okay, so this is a therapy session for me. Most of you know.
That'll be $85.
$85. So most of you know that, like you've seen me act or do poetry, anything verbal, I'm totally confident. Don't get nervous at all. But I've been playing guitar over the years, on and off, and I'm just neurotic about it. When I play for people, I get really nervous. And it's totally irrational, it's stupid. But so I want to get, and I quit the guitar numerous times, but I have this goal. I want to get over this problem. And no one ever criticized me in this life. I was always getting support from my parents, so it must be some past life thing. I don't know. So I would love to try to get over this. And so recently I bought a new guitar. Isn't that beautiful guitar? Beautiful. And I stopped playing classical, and I decided to play some jazz pieces, transcriptions of old classics, you know. So here we go. And,
Let's give it up for
yeah,
Joe.
These are still a bit of a work in progress, so
You need a music
they won't need flawless
Enough.
sound. No, this is not music. These are- so the first one, I just thought I'd read these beautiful 30s classics. The very thought of you, you know the words. I don't need your photograph to keep by my bed. Your picture is always in my head.
Cliff? Cliff, is
talk
it
like
on?
Well, I have to say it loud. I don't need your portrait, dear, to bring you to mind. For sleeping or waking, dear, I find the very thought of you, and I forget to do the little ordinary things that everyone ought to do. Goes on like that. Should I start?
Yeah.
patchy since last night, so I hope beloved Baba would let me sing well.
Yeah, he will.
Everybody see me?
Yeah.
हुआ लहर से ही है जिसकी सृष्टि का निर्माण, उसकी दैवी अनंतता का कैसे हो अनुमान। आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, नमो ब्रह्म आओ मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ। जी प्रेम दीप मैं ये जलाऊं, प्रेम दीप मैं ये जलाऊं, निबिड़ अंधेरा मिटता पाऊं, निबिड़ अंधेरा मिटता पाऊं। बनी आरती जीवन मेरा, बनी आरती जीवन मेरा, आदि अंत का लय हो घेरा, आदि अंत का लय हो घेरा। खुले नयन और दिखे सवेरा, खुले नयन और दिखे सवेरा, तुम मुझ में छा जाओ मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ। आदि सचे प्रभु आरती अपनाओ, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनाओ। जय मेहर बाबा। This song basically says Sab mil bolo. Let us say all together and praise Baba. Basically we are saying, okay. सब मिल बोलो प्रेम से बोलो, सब मिल बोलो प्रेम से बोलो, बोलो मेहर प्रभु नाम 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 नाम, बिगड़े बनेंगे सारे काम 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 काम, बिगड़े बनेंगे सारे काम। बोलो सब मिल बोलो प्रेम से बोलो, सब मिल बोलो प्रेम से बोलो, बोलो मेहर प्रभु नाम 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 नाम, बिगड़े बनेंगे सारे काम 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 काम, बिगड़े बनेंगे सारे काम। मेहर प्रेम का ज्ञान का सागर, मेहर प्रेम का ज्ञान का सागर, अनुभव कर ले तू ही निरंतर, अनुभव कर ले तू ही निरंतर, जो तू पल पल खोजे अंदर, जो तू पल पल खोजे अंदर मेहर जपते जा सुबह शाम 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 बिगड़े बनेंगे सारे काम 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 बिगड़े बनेंगे सारे काम बोलो सब मिल बोलो प्रेम से बोलो सब मिल बोलो प्रेम से बोलो बोलो मेहर प्रभु नाम 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 बिगड़े बनेंगे सारे काम 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 बिगड़े बनेंगे सारे काम. This song is written by a famous poet named Seema, and somebody was singing this song in front of Baba, and Baba loved this song, and in the middle of the song Baba raised his hand and he said, "I'm giving God realization to the poet who wrote this song."
Yahoo!
Thank you very much.
Did you write it, Robbie?
No, Seema is the poet. At that time, he already passed away, but wherever he was, so he received God realization.
And the crowd went wild, right? Cheered.
It means the avatar has come. God in the human form has arrived. Come, everyone, let's go and see him. Like back in the day, like people used to meditate for thousands of years to have a glimpse of him. But right now he is giving the mass darshan. Just let's go. Don't waste this time. And we have so many millions of lifetimes in the reincarnation process. Just gamble this one life. What are you going to lose? Dedicate this life to Baba. Let's go to him. Ala Pahadeva Ala Aho Ala Pahadeva Ala Paha Prabhu Ala Avatar Ala Yaho Yaho Chala Darsanala Yaho Yaho Chala Darsanala Ala Pahadeva Ala Aho Ala Pahadeva Ala Paha Prabhu Ala Avatar Ala Yaho Yaho Chala Darsanala Yaho Yaho Chala Darsanala Kase sangu hachito deva Kase sangu hachito deva जीवतुत तो पहुनि संदेहा जीवतुत तो पहुनि संदेहा झलो झलो वृथा मोहा झलो झलो वृथा मोहा धवहाची पांडुरंग आला याहो याहो चला दर्शनाला याहो याहो चला दर्शनाला आला Pahadeva Ala Aho Ala Pahadeva Ala Paha Prabhu Ala Avatar Ala Yaho Yaho Chala Darsanala Yaho Yaho Chala Darsanala Yaho Yaho Chala Darsanala Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Would you like one more song?
Quick, Chilo.
This song is very familiar to everyone. This song is very familiar. So whenever we visited Mehrabad or any, so it is like, okay, sing along while you walk along. So whenever they leave, they sing this song, and Mandali will be like, saying bye.
Yeah.
Please feel free. I will sing every line 2 times. Please feel free to join me.
On the second line.
Second line. Gaate chalo, गाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते चलो गाते चलो गाते चलो गाते चलो गाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते चलो काम करते चलो काम करते चलो काम करते चलो नाम जपते चलो नाम जपते चलो सच कहते चलो सच कहते चलो झूठ झजते चलो झूठ झजते चलो मेहर धन का खजाना बढ़ाते चलो मेहर मेहर गाते 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 चलो अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय
जय बाबा Good, Robbie.
All right. Jai Baba, everybody.
Hey, Baba.
So, got a few songs here, and some of them you're going to join me, please. These words are Baba's words, verbatim. And I put them to music. It's a songette. It's not a song. But the punch is, life is at its best at the end. So this is when you come in. So when I go, you say, life is at its best. You'll get
Baba.
it. I'll sing it two or three times. If understood, life is simply a jest. If misunderstood, life becomes a pest. Once overcome, life is ever at rest. For pilgrims of the path, life is a test. But when relinquished through love, relinquished through love, relinquished through love, life is at its best. Get it? If understood, life is simply a jest. If misunderstood, life becomes a pest. Once overcome, life is ever at rest. For pilgrims of the path, life is a test. But when relinquished through love, relinquished through love, relinquished through love, life is at its best. Got it? One more time. If understood, life is simply a jest. If misunderstood, life becomes a pest. Once overcome, life is ever at rest. For pilgrims of the path, life is a test. But when relinquished through love, relinquished through love, yes, relinquished through love, love, you guys. Yeah. All right, this one you can also join me. It's from the musical Gospel. And simple again. And it's one of David Katz's favorites.
Yeah.
Who's in the house?
Someone. He's over there. Cat is in the house.
I must have known you were coming, David.
Where's the mouse? Can't hear you.
All right. Day by day, day by day, oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see Thee more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day, day by day. Day by day, oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see Thee more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day. I don't hear You, day by day, day by day. Oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see Thee more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day. One more time, day by day, day by day. Oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see Thee more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day, day by day, by 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 day. give it up to Angel.
Our first ever collaborative. Ladybug, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, this song is lyrics by Francis Brabazon, and put that to music. I found this poem when I was a caretaker at the Heartland Center, and I was all excited. I said, wow, perfect, just like the meter perfect. How did Francis know it was for a song? And I'm going, whoa. And then little did I know that I found out that he wrote it with in mind that it was going to be put to music. And he has a whole book of them, and it's in the letters that people sing. So go figure. I was all happy, and so Francis was incredible that way. Okay, so -1. I sang a song in early spring, a song each lover sings. And summer came with its hot flame and burnt my young song's wings. I sang again a smoldering tune in a new key and fashion, till summer's heat turned to winter's sleet, and with it died my passion. And from the ashes of my song arose a phoenix singing, a song of flame of Bear's name. To you this song I'm bringing, a song of flame, yet very cool as in an evening sky. A song that leaps, yet love still keeps imprisoned in a sigh. A song of flame, know a few drops from his flood of compassion that I've overspilled and my cup filled and drowned me in its ocean. And from the ashes of my song arose a phoenix singing, a song of flame of Bear's name. To you this song I'm bringing. So listen kindly to my song, it's all I have to give you. These drops of flame of Mayor's name, when I have done I'll leave you. I sang a song in early spring, a song each lover sings. And summer came with its hot flame and burnt my young song's wings. And from the ashes of my song arose a phoenix singing, a song of flame of Bear's name. To you this song I'm bringing.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Hope he was okay with it. Since we're on the Australian continent, I'm going to sing a song by Sam Saunders. Beautiful song. With light from his pure love, I wind my way, I wind my way. On a road no distance knows, only today, only today. Far behind is yesterday, from the stars and the dreams, till the wind brought to my lips the clear song of the name of May. Farewell, old ancient world, I feel so young, I feel so young. No more your iron chains, on a swift glance my heart is on. Far behind is yesterday, from the stars and the dreams, till the wind brought to my lips the clear song of the name of May. On hopelessness alone, I place my trust, I place my trust. My destination lies within the dust, within the dust. Far behind is yesterday, from the stars and the dreams, till the wind brought to my lips the clear song of the name of May. Of May. Skip the, unless you want to. Oh. All right. This is a, people always ask me for French song.
Yeah.
So here's a French song I wrote a while back. And it's, if you listen carefully, Robbie, Bien-Aimé is written in this song.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh.
So you'll be happy.
Sera toujours d'essayer de me rapprocher de toi, coûte que coûte, peine après peine, il n'y aura rien qui m'en empêchera, car il n'existe que pour moi ton amour. Tout ce qui compte dans ma vie est ton amour. Je t'en prie, bien-aimé, garde-moi de plus en plus près de toi tout au long de mes jours. Mon désir sera toujours de tenter de te plaire, de te faire sourire, en constamment m'oublier, afin de me rappeler qu'il n'y a seulement que toi, car il n'existe que pour moi ton amour, car tout ce qui compte dans ma vie est ton amour. Je t'en prie, bien-aimé, garde-moi de plus en plus près de toi tout au long de mes jours. Mon désir sera toujours d'espérer devenir poussière à tes pieds, sans hésiter, je me confierai toute mon âme ainsi que ma fausse réalité, car il n'existe que pour moi ton amour, car tout ce qui compte dans ma vie est ton amour. Je t'en prie, bien-aimé, garde-moi de plus en plus près de toi tout au long de mes jours. Mon désir, mon seul désir. So this song is about, it's called Mon désir means my desire. And it's about, that's hopeful, that my only desire would please Baba, to make him smile, to give him everything I have, to surrender. But I'm way far from that, to be my only desire. But I have a quote. Baba quote says, the state of desirelessness or of wanting nothing is a faculty latent in everyone. It is within you, and you must find it out. So maybe that's my first baby step, writing a song about it. This is a Jim Myers song. I've been taking you for granted. Seems that's always true. It's not enough when I'm disenchanted to me to call on you. Seems as if my promise to you somehow lost its way. Sliding back can sure be easy without your love to guide my way. For you are the one who pierces my darkness and shows me the way to go on. When day is done and my heart needs some kindness, you're always there to lean on. It's you who keeps the fire burning in my frozen soul. Brought me back my every yearning, drag me to the goal. Seems as if my promise to you somehow lost its way. Sliding back can sure be easy without your love to guide my way. For you are the one who pierces my darkness, who shows me the way to go on. When day is done and my heart needs some kindness, you're always there to lean on.
Hey,
All right, now we're going to get Mr. Cliff to really work for his pizza.
That's the way they say it down here, Mr. Cliff.
Mr. Cliffy.
Miss Mariah?
Yes, Mr. Cliff. All right, you ready?
No.
Go.
All right, 1, 2, 5, get set. Ready?
forgive me if I fail to remember you. Please forgive me if I forget to smile. I deeply apologize. I'm just learning how to live only for you. I will try my best time and again to bring my love to you. To bring my love to you. What choice do I have? You stole my heart and made me yours. One day I'll become the statue of feet. That's what I'm really living for. That's what I'm really living for. Please forgive me if I don't always obey you. Please forgive me if I find a way to displease you. I'm just learning to surrender to what I know to be true. I will go astray now and then, only to come back to you. Only to come back to you.
Signal 10 minutes ago. So.
One more.
One more. Oh, I don't have it. I don't have it. I didn't bring it. No.
Hey, David, you already got your song.
Yeah, you got your song already.
Well, I'm
David.
allowed to.
Don't be stingy. Almi is on the guitar. So. This song I wrote way after I came to Baba, years later. But it's it's about that. Sometimes they come, overbaked.
Here comes somebody. Mr. Irwin, I think.
I wasn't searching. The world was fine, but you came and rocked my universe. In my life you became first. I fell in love with you. I wasn't looking for any answers, but you came and opened up my heart and mind. So much beauty I would find. I fell in love with you. How could I resist the tender way you kissed my soul? I had to give in, surrender. It was beyond my control. I wasn't trying to change the rules, but you came playing a very different game, and I would never be the same. I fell in love with you. How could I resist the tender way you kiss my soul? I had to give in, surrender. It was beyond my control. I wasn't hoping for a better dream, but you came, you gave me a taste of your wine, and from then on, nothing would be mine. I fell and I rose in love with you. How could I resist the tender way you kissed my soul? I had to give in, surrender. It was beyond my control. I wasn't searching. The world was fine, but you came and rocked my universe. In my life you became first. I fell and I rose in love with you. I fell in love with you. I rose in love with you. Jai Baba. Thank you for being here.
Everybody signed this card, and we've colored it. Thank you, Mariah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're going to get one.
What's it, her birthday?
It's a thank you for being our guest.
Oh.
Is that right? Would you confirm that that's true? Does Baba talk like that? Are we the stream or is he the stream? I actually don't know. But anyway, we all end up going to that ocean, and then what is that ocean?
Ocean of love.
It's the ocean of love. So wouldn't that be a big river of love?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a stream of love, a creek of love? Well, whatever. I got the image in my mind, and then I just let that rest inside me because I liked it. And then I was cycling around. I don't know if I was cycling around the center, it doesn't matter. And I thought, oh, there's this stream. Now, whether the stream is me or it's him, I don't know. So I jumped in the stream. So that's what I did.
That's your Baba story?
It's part of my, this is like this week. So then the stream, I noticed the next day it got deeper. And have you been up in the mountains where the streams come corroding down? You know, there's a melt of the snow and ice, and those are really heavy-duty, rollicking streams with boulders, and you're just, here I am in this, now the stream has gotten to that point. Oh my God. And I'm in the stream, and what I'm saying is that I'm visualizing this internally, because I'm a visual person, so it's just a picture. It doesn't have the feeling of love, but I know that I'm being turned and tumbled And I'm going downstream. No, I'm not getting hurt. There's no trouble. I just noticed that I'm going backwards, frontwards, and just, So then another day or two goes by. Oh my God, now I have a fascination for the samadhi.
Who knew?
Some attraction to the samadhi. Do you have that? Something is there. And Baba said, if you imagine or picture or feel that you're at the samadhi, you're there. So you can do that right now while you're sitting here. Anyway, so I had some interest in doing that. Oh my God. The next day, now this stream with me in it, we're talking about a stream about this deep and a stream about as wide as I'm going to walk. That, a lot of water. For some reason, I'm still in the stream going, and now the stream is just pouring into the samadhi. And it's just pouring into that small door of the samadhi, and just, I guess, disappearing.
And it ran uphill to get there.
It must have run uphill somehow. Anyway, so this is an experiment of just me trying to find, or not trying, or maybe finding different ways just to remember Baba.
Without any warning or any intimation or feeling that something unusual was about to happen, my body totally disappeared, vanished, zippo. And concomitantly, the world disappeared. Thank God I wasn't frightened, but I was shocked. I knew I still existed, because if I didn't exist, I wouldn't be aware that I was no longer experiencing my usual references of having a physical form and being in a physical world. Now, what I experienced, I'll tell you the quick version of it. Initially, what I experienced was just the shock, and then trying to get some kind of moorings. And since I couldn't do it in a physical way, I tried to ask myself, I did ask myself, whether my mind was still there, whether there was any kind of reference that I could identify with, and whether it was my mind or Irwin Luck's mind or Judy's mind or someone else's mind. Well, David's mind, perhaps. That would have been a treat. So I took some time, was still there. I was aware of the passage of time. And I took about 10, what felt like about 10 minutes for me to determine that, for better or worse, my mind was still relatively whatever it is or was. So I was relieved somewhat to have some kind of ontological reference. And then, and what I experienced was just void. I didn't feel any kind of great bliss. I just felt a kind of a void, a blackness. Not unpleasant, but not unusually pleasant either. And it was very intensely, I felt I was the only one that existed. Like Baba said, when he first became God realized he was the only one that existed. Well, I didn't experience God realization, but I experienced I was the only one in this, whatever it was. And then suddenly, at a distance, about where Jackie is in reference to me, suddenly a being appears in a chair, just like she's in, and I inwardly invited it to come closer to me. And I realized as it came closer and stopped around 3 feet from me, it was Meher Baba. It was Meher Baba as he looked in the last decade of his life, just pouring suffering off him. It's unbelievable, the intensity of what I witnessed. Photographs don't do it justice. It was just so much pain and suffering pouring off the man. And I was delighted to see Meher Baba. I would have been delighted to see anyone because I was in it very long, but particularly delighted to see Meher Baba because of obvious reasons. And Baba started communicating with me telepathically about his humanity. First thing he told me is, I am the loneliest being in the whole universe. Now, I had never thought of Meher Baba quite in that context, that he was the loneliest human being in the universe. Anyway, then he gave me a series of things, and each time he stopped, he etched something on my heart, and I could feel a slight bit of pain. I don't know what he etched. Then, after that, it occurred to me that something I'd heard at that point fairly recently. Bob had said, direct quote, "My love for each one of you is such that I'd be gladly cut to pieces thousands of times to just help any one of you achieve enlightenment or realization." And I just didn't ask Bob that, but I wondered, could that be true about anyone? About Jesus Christ, Buddha, formless God? Could it really be true? And Baba didn't answer it, but he opened something up in himself. I was able to see deeply, more deeply in his heart, and I saw that it was true. And then, after a few other experiences, which I won't go into now, I found myself back in the physical body about 100 yards from where I left it, right where you go down.
I'm sorry, where?
That's another sentence to go finish.
Okay.
And so it had a tremendous impact on me because I realized that Baba has the power to whisk any one of us out of anything. And, you know, so it was quite the most powerful experience I've ever had with Mayor Baba.
Jay Baba.
The ways we can connect with Baba, of course, is in our dreams, and we know when they're visitation dreams and when they're just dreams. And I've had some, like probably most of us, some very powerful Baba visitation dreams. And one, I realized part of the purpose of the dream, he was trying to help me figure out where to build on my land, family lands. And in the dream, it was like kind of behind me to my right. I could see him out of the corner of my eye. And he was on a horse. And he was totally merged with the horse, like a centaur. You couldn't tell where the power and beauty of the horse ended and he began, or where his beauty and power. And he had that long, flowing black hair and so much love. And he was just standing there looking with me to figure out, trying to figure out where was the higher ground. And when I woke up, I knew that he was really there helping me. So it was beautiful.
Really?
So sweet.
Okay, I don't really, I don't really want to go through the whole chronology of my Baba story because it is quite long and winded. It took place over about from the time I was in my teenage years until I was about 30, so I don't want to go into all the details because it takes 20 minutes to tell. So why don't I just tell the end? How's that? Because at the end I was like basically had been reading Baba's books for like 10 years and was moved by Baba's life, but I was just kind of going, is he who he says he is? I don't know. I don't have any conviction. So I kind of had been running a record store up in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, and had, been interested in music all my life. That's how I found out Baba's name via Pete Townsend, so that gives you a hint there. But, so I'm kind of still, kind of I wouldn't say unconvinced, I'm moved, but I'm gonna go, is this real? And I kind of said, well, I've decided, this record business is, I've had enough. It's kind of the business side of it has become, overwhelming and unfulfilling. So I decided to close that down. And before I do anything else, I'm going to find out about Meher Baba. I'm going to go to Myrtle Beach. So I end up taking a Greyhound bus, and because I was very inexperienced in traveling and didn't think it through, I decided, well, I'm just going to see the sights along the way since I hadn't been in the United States at all. So I'll take a bus all the way down to LA. That took 2 days. And then I'll go through Texas, and then through New Orleans, and then up to Myrtle Beach. Well, that was a total of 5 days. So when I get here, I've been on a bus for 5 days. And, you know, kind of like sleeping with my head against the window type of thing, you know, and kind of dragged out and everything. And so I get here, and I don't remember exactly. I don't remember somebody picking me up, but maybe I just got a cab or something, and going to the center and meeting Kitty. And this is in the fall of '89, just like 2 weeks after Hurricane Hugo came through. And I phoned the center and I said, "Are you open?" And they said, "Well, when are you coming?" And I explained, and they said, "Well, we should be open by then." So luckily the center was open. There was a lot of trees down, and Myrtle Beach was a real mess. I vaguely remember just a lot of damage on the ocean front. Hotels, you know, their first floors were all devastated and everything. So I had a very pleasant time, and my interview with Kitty was very sweet. And the only thing that happened with her was she asked me, "Do you love Baba?" And I kind of couldn't get any answer out at first. I kind of just was so emotional that I kind of just croaked out a no, not a no, a yes. You know, I wasn't even. I was just kind of just stunned, you know. And so I sort of had a pleasant time, and in passing I met Peter Booth, and he advised me, you know, you should go to India, because Baba's presence is very strong in India. And I said, okay. So I go back to Canada, and then basically 3 months later, I decided to go for Amritithi. And so I'm skipping a lot of details because I don't want to go into a lot of long-winded details, but I end up getting to the trust office and getting a rickshaw out to Mehrabad and getting shown to a private room. And so I am very agitated. You know, I just had a kind of a very aggravating couple days getting there, and I sort of was tired and not in a very good frame of mind. So I tried to get some rest, and then probably mid-afternoon I decided, okay, I'm gonna go to the hill. And I go out to the front of the Pilgrim Center, and this is January of 1990, and I don't know anything. You know, I said, I don't know where I'm going. Where is Baba's tomb? And they kind of said, it's across the road, across the railway track, and up the hill. I said, okay. So I ended up, you know, making the little jump over the road, and then watch both ways to make sure a train isn't coming to hit me, and jump over the train tracks, and then start making my way up the hill. And as I'm coming up the hill, I'm thinking to myself, well, after all this, is this, you know, am I coming to the abode of God? I don't know. So my mind was saying, is this what I'm doing? Is this where I found myself? So as I was moving up the hill, people were coming down the hill and they were going Jai Baba, and I would go Jai Baba. And I'd learn, you know, the lingo of Jai Baba. Because, you know, other than being at the Mayor Center for 10 days, I really had almost zero contact with any other Baba lovers. And so I was going up the hill and I was becoming more and more emotional, and I sort of was thinking, but as I was going up the hill, I realized that I was feeling very, very happy, very blissful. And as I was moving up and to the top of the hill where all the gravel is I was pretty much moving slower and slower because this feeling was intensifying, and it was like my whole body was just streaming bliss. And at the same time, my thinking was practically, I couldn't do any thinking. My brain had, seemingly my mind had stopped. And all I had was this feeling. And as I moved like a robot towards the samadhi, this feeling was all that I knew. And I came to the edge of where the stone is where you take off your shoes. And I took off my shoes, and Nanak embraced me. And I went in and I was weeping for about 20 minutes, but it was I was not self-conscious because I was immersed in this bliss. And that's basically the answer to a long search.
This is a story about a story. Back in the early 70s, I found out about Baba. Not too different the way Carrie just described. Remember that Who Came First album? And that's something very familiar, but I had heard about Baba earlier, and I'd actually read the discourses. Well, this is a story about a friend who's inspired me all my life to follow my heart in my relationship to Baba. We actually both found out about Baba around the same time. So this short story is a tribute to a friend. And when we met in our early 20s, we realized we were the same age, we grew up with the same loves, you know, the Red Sox, the Beatles, you know, Woodstock, et cetera, et cetera.
And the Yankees too, right?
Oh yeah, Yankees too. And we both found out about Baba when we were in high school. And we were at a concert and we were quoting Baba to each other. I think we were 21 at the time. So one of our pastimes back then, being sort of, what you might call low-budget hippies, we used to ride the subway for 25 cents, and we could ride from one end of the green line to the other. And what did we ride the subway for? Because we'd meet interesting people, particularly college co-eds. And we talked to them about God, yoga, Mayor Baba, and health foods. And usually in that order. And anyway, our paths stayed connected over 40 years. We've been very good friends. I brought him to the center a few times. Well, when he was my sidekick in my business, and when we traveled together, before we started working, every morning at the crack of dawn, he'd be up writing. And after about a decade or so of this, I hadn't seen him for a while. He had been traveling in the off-season. He showed me a collection of poems. And I said, Nick, is this what you've been writing all these years? You never really shared more than a few lines with me. He said, well, I finally decided to publish. I'm going to publish some of them. So through a series of mishaps, including he lost an entire collection of poems that was about 300 poems. And I said, Nick, you have them backed up somewhere. And he said, no, actually, he hadn't, and he had lost them. So he recreated most of the important ones. And then next time I saw him, he handed me an entire set of mimeographed poems. Well, jumping to the chase, about 10 years later, he came to Myrtle Beach to visit me, and he had actually published some of them, 33 poems in a book. And I read them, and I shared them with some folks in the community, and the feeling was, these poems were inspired by Baba. And I said, people ask me, these poems, I said, were they inspired by Baba? He says, of course. I said, but you never mentioned Baba in any of them. He says, well, read between the lines, you know. And I said, which ones? And he said, well, which ones speak to you? And I named a bunch of them, and I had memorized a few of them, actually. And I said, well, can I share them? He said, absolutely. I said, well, do you mind if I, tweak them a little bit? He says, please, feel free. So anyway, this is a poem. It's actually 3 poems combined. Let's see if I can remember it. I actually made this my own, in a sense. I took a bunch of lines from a bunch of different poems. And I asked myself the question, what would Baba, if Baba spoke to me directly, or to anyone, what would he say? What would be the words? Not just the sound, but what would be the words? Not even telepathically, what would be the words? And I got them from reading my friend Nick's poems. And I even changed the name of the poem. It's called May You Strive Just to Love Me. So here it is. May your thoughts be blessed and your heart caressed, because you've been my special guest and you deserve no less. May the truth of my word be like music to be heard. It'll make you soar like a bird, your soul forever stirred. And may you be possessed in your divine quest. May you do your very best and trust me with all the rest. Try not to worry, try not to doubt, be secure in my love, and you'll finally find out that there's no time to be selfish, only to serve. Stare down the darkness, get up your nerve. Let me pause for a second. Words are fine, but actions deliver. Blessed are the children, for they are the givers. Don't delay for the time that is now. Strive just to love me, make it your vow. Suffer no more, it makes no sense. Humility and compassion for humanity's defense. Jai Baba.
All right. I have here something that I brought with me, which really is a great experience that Baba had when he met Hazrat Babajan. And he wrote a poem at that time to her because it was so amazing what he experienced as Merwan. This is what it is. Merwanji composed the following ghazal dedicated to Babajan, that woman perfect master who gave him the enlightenment. O beloved master, I am eternally grateful to you. If I had 100,000 lives, I would sacrifice every one of them at your feet. You drowned me in the eternal ocean of oneness and transformed me into an ocean like yourself. In the twinkling of an eye, you made a lover into God, and God I have become. O Emperor of Masters, O Ocean of Mercy, O Perfection personified, Sadguru, if your merciful glance falls on anyone, a beggar turns into a king. Gods, goddesses, angels, celestial beings, and men are all awed by the brilliance of your divinity. O enlightened master of the three worlds, even if I were to transform my body into the sandals of your feet, it would be nothing in comparison with what you have done for Meherwan. We know how Baba felt, and really everything that Baba has said and done has been to bring you and me and all of us into that enlightened state of self-knowledge, self-realization, the very thing that he praised Hazrat Babajan, his master, for. I had the great privilege of being with Baba for a period of time. And that was back in 1960 when I first heard about Baba. Actually, in 1959 I heard about him, but in May of 1960 is when I came to see him. And that was after he said I could come for 1 hour. But then he kept me for 2 weeks. And he wanted me to be very close to him wherever he went, wherever he walked, just to be there. Well, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to actually remain with Baba and live with him. But then he said to me one day, he was about to go from Pune, where he was staying, to Meherabad, and he said that I should return back to the States. He wanted me to be back here, and he asked me if I would go. So I should also say, first he asked me if I would obey him. So when I said yes, then he asked me if I would return back to the States if he had asked me to do so. How nice he was about the whole thing. So I had already committed myself to obey him, so I said yes, but reluctantly I said it. Just the same, he motioned for me to come over to him and to be close to him. And so he embraced me. And when he did that, I had a tremendous experience of energy, that Baba just poured all this energy into me. It was a life force energy, not like electricity. It was not like that. It was truly a life force energy. And it was so much that it was like overflowing. It was literally overflowing. It's like you go into the ocean and you come out and you feel yourself dripping. Well, that was what was happening. I felt the dripping of this energy. And it didn't stop until the next day, after I went to sleep, and then the next day that experience was not there any longer. But I did feel that something had happened that was just unusual and remarkable. Well then, in the course of the 2 weeks that I was with Baba, he had me. He asked he asked everybody actually if they had any questions, and no one raised their hands. There was about 15 people in the room with Baba that morning, and no one raised their hand. But I had previously, the previous day, said to Baba when we were in the car together and we were driving over to this girls' orphanage, this little girls' orphanage, I said to Baba, was Shri Yukteswar a perfect master? I don't know, I just all of a sudden blurted that out. And Baba just gestured and said that, did I come all this way just to ask him that? I could have written. So I said to Baba, Baba, you're absolutely right. I got to tell God he was right. But I felt it was right. So when he asked the next day if anyone has any questions, naturally that passed through my mind. I said, oh, what's the point? You know, it doesn't matter whether I know this or not. It's irrelevant. So, and no one else was answering. No one else raised their hand to say they had a question. So Baba again asked if anyone had any question. Now was the time to ask. So again, I thought about it. I'm not going to ask that. So no one else was asking. Finally, Baba just turned to me and he said, Irwin, do you have a question? Well, now, I still was thinking that that was an irrelevant question. It really wouldn't matter whether I knew whether he was a perfect master or not. Here I am with the avatar. What am I thinking about anyone else at this time? So I started to think that I have to ask a question. But I wanted it to be the one question that answers all questions, after which there's no more to ask. And I'm thinking about that. What is that question that would answer all questions? And we're all sitting together, and there's Baba very patiently waiting, and everybody else was sitting in the room all waiting. And I was just thinking and thinking and thinking, what could that question be? And I just couldn't think of the question. So then I remembered something that I had read, that Baba himself had said that the one who asks for my love will be the chosen one. So I thought, that's not bad. I've never experienced that kind of love. What the divine love? What is that love? I never had that experience. I said, Baba, can I have all your love? That was my question. Well then, Baba just turned and he pointed to somebody. He said, do you have all my love? The person said, no, Baba. Do you? And these are people, mind you, that have been with him for years. I'm just a relatively new person, newcomer. And each one would say no, you know, and he pointed, you know, different ones here and there. No, nobody said. Then there was a little stand by the chair that Baba was sitting in, and there was a jar. So Baba picked up the jar and he motioned with his hand all around like this, you know, and he said, I am the ocean of love, but you are in the jar, and this jar of ignorance has got a cap, a cover on it. All you need to do is remove the cover, and the ocean that I am, and the love, the infinite love that I am, will pour in and you will experience it. Well, that sounded good. It even sounded somewhat easy. But then I started to think, wait a minute, nothing's changed. I'm still the same as I was before. just then, as I was about to say something to Baba about that, in comes Kakabad. And Kakabad was the old man that had all these incredible divine experiences that had come in. He was old and he was emaciated and he had these little glasses on him, little tiny glasses, and you could really feel sorry for him except for the one thing, that he was living with Baba and he was having all these divine experiences. So for that I couldn't feel too sorry, but I was thinking about it. And I couldn't then ask Baba what I was going to. I'll tell you what that was, because later I realized the answer anyhow. I was going to say to Baba that I'm on the inside of that jar and you're on the outside. You have to remove it from the outside. I can't do it from the inside. So I had that in mind, you know, to tell Baba his business. But I didn't have that opportunity because because Kakabad came in, and everything changed. You know, it was inappropriate to say anything further about this. But when I thought about it later, I realized that Baba was the one that had to do it, and that's why I was there. If I could have done this, I would have done it already. I wouldn't have had to be there. But no, I had to come there because he is the one that gives the enlightenment to others. And I think that was what he wanted me to realize, that's why I was there, you know. But he made me understand it through this roundabout way. Okay. After he asked each person, and they all said no, that they didn't have his love, then before he picked up that jar, he said, why should I give you my love? Why should I give it to him or to her? Why you? So I said, Baba, give it to whomever you like. I want to experience it too. I was not being exclusive about this. Anyhow, Baba was all about love. I cannot stress that enough. He was not one to really try to fill your mind up with all the answers to everything. Now, it's not to say that he didn't illuminate us with many answers that we would never have known before, because the Avatar came this time and he really did share a lot of what what he wanted us to know. But everything you know, you can add 10 more questions to it, you know. And that's the way it is. For 10 years, Baba guided me through communications, through correspondence, through letters and through telegrams and cables, and through some visits when he allowed us to come. In 1961 was the second time I got to see Baba. And I went with my brother Edward, which was his first time. Edward loved Baba dearly, and when he came in, he just prostrated himself in front of Baba. And he was embraced by Baba. And I have to tell you something, that before we actually walked up to Baba, because there was a whole line of people in front of us, you couldn't see Baba from where we was standing to come in to see him. You couldn't see him, but the atmosphere in the room was so still. It was so beautiful. It was very natural, but at the same time, you felt like you were wading through this beautiful presence. And then, when our turn came, that's when I got to see Baba again, that time. And I kissed him on both cheeks, and he would have us sit next to him, Edward on Edwin and myself. And there was about 200 people in the room. It was a large room in Guru Prasad Hall. And Baba was asking if everyone wanted to sit with him in silence, or did they want him to explain something? Well, in my mind, immediately, I thought, I want him to explain something. It was not good being that quiet. But of course, you're with the avatar, it's different. So I just decided, well, let Baba say something. And now, and he did. And then, so he did for everybody. It was for everybody. And I don't even remember what he said. But I know at one time he did tell us about Hafiz. And Hafiz, because in my mind I wanted to really know Baba, and I wanted to see what is God, what is the inner life, the experience of God, the way Baba is experiencing it. Because you have to remember this, that Baba had told someone, and I had read this, that if, when they asked him, what is the difference of is your consciousness different than ours? And Baba said one word, very. At another time, he explained that the difference in his consciousness and ours was the same as between ours and an insect. Someone said a stone. That's even lower. But it was a huge difference, because you can see the difference between your consciousness and something that is so primal as to be such a subhuman state. The difference in what the growth of consciousness has been. So and ours and Baba's is different as that. So then I thought about this. I said, wait a minute. I started to look at the different things that were written up in the books about what Baba said, what he was conscious of. And there was a huge difference. For instance, Baba would say, I am in every self, and I am the self of everyone. So I'm thinking, how would I feel being the self of everyone? Can I really imagine this? I can't even imagine being the self of everyone. I have enough trouble imagining being my own self without being the self of everyone yet. But that is what unconditional love is. When you are one with everyone, that is the love that's talked about as being unconditional. There is no limits to that love. But that was his experience, you see. That was the experience that he has in the God state. Well, when I was reading the Master's Prayer, and you have all probably recited it many times maybe, do you know that that's a prayer about us? It is not. It's a prayer to God, but who's that? It is a prayer of what we will ultimately experience our true self to be. Not this limited body that's in this cage, or in the spiritual path where people have to go through that, to go through the planes of consciousness, all these planes, and then eventually end up in the self-realized Godhood state. Baba is telling us what we will experience, because that's his experience. Now, when he said he came down from the highest to our level, but then he went on to say, to bring us up to his level. What does that mean? That means you will experience what the Baba state is, what he experienced. That poem that he wrote to Hazrat Babajan, at the beginning when I read Baba's poem, it was so touching that he just had so much love for her. He had to express what she had done for him. That he was just an ordinary person, and she gave him this enlightenment. which was the everything of the everything. And it was the epitome of infinite love, knowledge, the knower of everything, the power of everything. I mean, he just was harmless to the world, because when you have that kind of love, you are one with everyone. Who are you to harm? There is no one else to harm. There is no harm. He is the most harmless of beings, this man with infinite power and infinite knowledge of everything is the most harmless person, because he has his love is for everyone. And you can't hurt what you love. You only want to be one with what you love. And his purpose and mission was to help us to understand it, not just understand it, but to actually experience that kind of love that he was experiencing. So I wanted Baba to show me that. I had read about it. I had found out about it. Well, what am I going to do about it? I didn't want to just hear about other people's spiritual experience. I didn't want to read any more Bibles and books and scriptures and all of that. It was time now to have the experience of Baba. And that's why I went to him. I didn't go there to hear a lecture or anything about all of this here. What I read was quite sufficient for me. But now had to be the real thing. And Baba knew that. When I came in and he asked me, "What do you want?" That was the first thing he asked me, "What do you want?" First he embraced me and he kissed me and he had me sit with him and asked me how I had come, and a few things like that. And then he said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want to know what is real. I want to know." I can't remember the precise words I said to Baba, but it was like that. It was to know the real thing, to know God. Show me God. And Baba was very happy. He was very happy that I had said that. And he made me know in the course of time, many things that he said, that this is all going to happen. This is now going to happen. So why, I mean, Baba's told everybody that eventually it has to happen, because that's who we are. That's what our goal is. But being in his company and hearing him say it, and you hear it to yourself, well, here's somebody that can do it. You see, it isn't like I would just say, oh, you know, one day maybe you'll experience God, and you'll have all that love and truth. No, I have no power to make that happen. It's a wish, you know, good luck. Do it. But to come to someone that is capable of wiping out all those sanskaras that stand in the way of that experience, and that's what Baba said it was. He said, you would experience that if it weren't for the sanskaras, the binding impressions that you acquire through your evolution. He said that has to be wiped out. And then, automatically, the consciousness is experiencing your true self. All right, and Baba did say a lot of things over the period of years, you know, like I said, 10 years, in which how that would occur. But, what?
You said that Baba was going to talk about Hafiz.
Hafiz. Yes. Well, Baba, when I was with him at that time, and I was yearning to know him as he really is, he had this poem that Hafiz had written about his own God realization, self-realization. Some of you may have heard that poem. It's amazing. It's an amazing poem. And it was also sort of the description of what his praise for his master. His master was a Tar, that for 40 years he served him and served him and served him, because he wanted to realize God. And then one day he said he was handed the ticket to the highest. And he took it. He took it. He felt that he had deserved it. He did everything what that master said. And the master was not easy on him over those years. But then one day, it was time. And he gave him that true enlightenment and made a perfect master out of him as well. Not just gave him the bliss, the experience of the liberation, but the experience of the God state of being able to help others. Because what does a perfect master do? I mean, there's nothing you can give him. He's got everything. He helps others to attain that same enlightenment. Well, it's too bad I have that poem in this book here, but I don't remember what page it is, and it's a thick book.
You wrote it.
Don't ask me what's, remember everything that's in it. But I have another poem I could read, which, like I say, my poems are all true and they're connected to everything that Baba had made me understand and realize. This one here is called The Greatest of All. Alexander the Great conquered the entire known civilized world. Newton and Einstein are hailed as the greatest scientific minds this world has known. Picasso, Caruso, Leonardo da Vinci, Beethoven are some of the greatest artists. Somehow, no one mentioned you. You, whose all-powerful might produces suns, planets, and even entire universes. Great scientists are awed when they discover just the barest fraction of what you made since the beginning of time. Your cosmic landscapes are your art, which we tried to copy. You gave us eyes to admire the greatest of splendors, from the smallest to the largest. It just goes on, the beauty you have made. Somehow, your name was left out. What are the conquerors of the earth compared to you, whose might is infinite? With just a thought, you calm the minds of millions, so peace can reign, or energize them into action. You are ever there, unseen like the air, the producer of the existence of everything and everyone. Somehow you took form. Somehow I found out your name. Somehow I met you, the greatest of all. I'll leave it open now, where if anyone would like to ask anything, you can do so now.
Irwin,
Yeah.
I really appreciated so much the story that you told. I think it was in 1962 at the Darshan.
Yeah.
When you were in that seat with Mayor Baba in the car. And that you were trying to decide whether you should look at Baba or not.
Well, actually, what it was hard not to stare at Baba. I was really pretty blown away, looking at him. But again, in the car, I didn't want to be like I'm staring, I've been taught not to do that. So, what did Baba do? He motioned behind his head, because the window was behind him, and the sun was coming on his head. So he gestured to hold up a fan and put it over his head, so that the sun doesn't go on his head, which meant that I had to hold the fan up and stare at it, and I could all I wanted. Like that. It was so natural and so easy, like that. There were so many incidents, in which he could read your feelings and your mind, and then create some sort of a situation or circumstance to make you happy with what he wanted, but not to use supernatural powers that he had to do in front of you. Yeah. Whatever he did to adjust your circumstances, which is the way I put it, was done behind the scenes. You didn't see how he did this, and you just knew that, gee, everything seemed to work out, or it didn't seem possible when you asked him, usually inwardly. Now, people these days, and had not just these days, all along, wanted to know how, when Bob is not physically present, to be able to contact him, to be able to, have a communication. And it only reminds me so much of the way Bob would tell us, I am not this body. Don't mix me up with the body. But he made us know that the mind is everywhere. It operates with different laws. And if a person just thought of him and had something from their heart that they really needed him to respond to, he would pick that up right away. Because if it comes from the heart, that you really feel it and you mean it, that was what he would respond to. But if a person just, sort of flippantly would say, well, I'd like this or that, but, it wasn't really that important. Well, who knows whether he would respond to anything of the sort. But from the heart, yes. No question about it. That was the way it worked. And even till this day, anybody that wants to contact Baba, there's no difficulty in it. Because the truth of the matter is, we're not the physical body either. When Baba said he's not the body, and not to mix him up with it, only because we are only conscious of our physical form, do we say we're the body. But once you get to be conscious of the subtle, the mental, and beyond state of the formless, you would never mix yourself up with just the limitations of the body, But we can, because we do have a mind, connect with Baba until such time comes that we could see ourselves as something greater. That's where it's at. It's not hard. Everybody is always thinking of something anyhow. So you may as well think of something that'll do you some good.
Does it still happen to you that you have thoughts like that and naturally things come?
Yeah. I've had many instances in my life where Baba adjusted the circumstances, and it appeared to be quite miraculous because it was, unexpected. I'll tell you one. This one occurred when I wanted to see Baba the first time. I had no money. I couldn't go. And I thought, how am I going to do this? It was already 6 months from the time I heard about him, and I had intended to go see him, and nothing worked out. Absolutely nothing would work out. I tried to work myself on a boat. That didn't work. I couldn't get a boat to take me. Just nothing worked. I didn't have the money to go. It was really quite impossible. So then a letter comes from Mani, Baba's sister Mani, saying that Mayor Baba would soon be entering seclusion, and he would be going into seclusion for 6 months, during which time no one should write to him or to visit, because he wouldn't be answering that. But in an emergency, you could send a telegram. That was about as much that you could do. So I thought, oh no, he's going to go into seclusion for 6 more months. It's already been 6 months. I can't get there. Nothing works out, So I thought, I got desperate, very desperate. And I said, what am I going to do? I got to do something that's going to work. Aha, I thought of something. Now I think it's something. I'll do what I should have done in the first place. I wrote to Baba and told him my dilemma. That I wanted to go, I wanted to see him, but I didn't have any means of getting there. No money, no nothing. Nothing works out. But I know if it is your will, I would be able to come, providing it's your will. And with that, I really took him as divine, that, you know, he's capable of doing things that no ordinary person could do. Back comes a letter immediately. It was one line only in the whole letter. I couldn't believe how fast that letter came. And Baba said, don't worry, circumstances will adjust themselves. Wow, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. You know? Do you know that 2 weeks from the time that letter came, I was there. I already went. I was able to go. So everything that was no became yes. Believe me, that's wonderful when that happens, because everything worked out. I won't go into all the detail now, because that's a story in itself, but that's what happened. Then I was there, and when Baba said to me, when I had come, how did you come? I said, Baba, I was able to come because it was your will. And as soon as I said that, emotion like this, to stand up and to tell it to the others that were in the room, about 15 people in the room. So I stood up and I said, I'm here because this is Baba's will. Like that, you know. And then there was a man in the back, he raised his hand. And he said, and Baba pointed to him and he said, but how did you make the money to come? He must have been aware of the correspondence there. So, but when he said that, I thought, this man doesn't understand. It could have been anything, you know, Baba made it possible, whatever he did. You know, however he does things. And when I was thinking this, I didn't say it, but I was thinking it, then Baba just went like this. He motioned like this. That's not important. The way he said is how he came. Like that. So Baba does work through the circumstances of your life. I mean, so many of you have been with Baba for some time. You probably know about that, you know, when you think about it. How your circumstances became different or were able to occur for things that were really meaningful. And many times he just handles you in certain ways that you don't even ask or expect. It just happens like that because his purpose is to enlighten you, to give you that experience. He has to work out all these impressions that you have that stand in the way of that. So naturally your life takes a turn. Ivy Deuce, who is the head of the Sufis, that Baba had said that she could do that, became Sufism reoriented to Baba, used to do astrology to guide her people that were in Sufism. She would use astrology. But then she told me one day, she said, you know, it doesn't work with people that are focusing just on Baba. Their astrology is all different. It doesn't work anymore. And why? Because he has to take you out of that circle. Naturally. How is it going to be the same if he's working on that, you know, to enlighten you, to take you out of that astrological circle? Is that it?
More stories.
In the jar.
More. Well, maybe one more. I think we're running out of time.
Four more.
Irwin, is there anything that you may have regretted in your life with Mayor Baba that comes to mind that you wish you would have done something different at that time?
Well, there are a few things like that. You know, you always think, well, you could have done things a little differently, maybe better than what it was. One instance was where Baba told Edward and I that through correspondence that we should eat well, because we weren't eating well. We were just, we wanted to save our money so we could get to see Baba. That was what we were doing whenever he would call again. And Baba even went so far as to say that we could see him for 2 weeks, a fortnight. That's the way he put it. Because we were doing everything he said. I mean, we really were very happy to obey whatever Baba gave. We would even ask him if he had any further instructions and things of the sort. Even when we were up to here, we were trying to just do what we're doing. We were still asking. And mercifully, he didn't. He didn't have to say anything more. But then, when he told us that we should eat well, and we didn't know what he meant, you know, because we were eating, but not, you know, there was any particular thing about how to eat well. And what happened is that one day, as I was getting ready to go to work, I couldn't do it. It was like, I just had no will to do it. I mean, this was amazing, you know, because I was so energized to do this. And now there was just no will to do anything. And I did want to get Baba. I was saving money. My brother Edward was saving money. The two of us the same way. Just had absolutely no will to do anything. So I wrote to Baba and I told him, you know, Baba, this is what has happened. And we don't know what to do about it. And Baba wrote back and said, take vitamins. And we went to see Harry Kenmore, who was a chiropractor, and he gave us, boy, did he give us a whole medicine cabinet full of vitamins with injections and everything else. And of course we eventually recovered from that, but at the same time, we were not able to see Baba for that 2 weeks, and that is a regret, you know. But you know, I didn't worry about it, because I felt that somehow it's all in the design. You know, Baba is taking care of it. Whether we physically get there or not. But I thought it would be really good if we could have gone. You know, that would have been nice. And that was a regret, I might say. If I had it to do over again, I would have eaten better in the first place, so as not to lose the opportunity. Like that. Yeah. Baba went to see, this is an interesting story, I don't know if I've told it before to you all, but there was Madhusudan, who used to play and sing music to Baba. And Baba really liked him. He was a great musician because of he would make up these songs. And he was always singing to Baba. One day Baba said to him that he wanted to go and visit him in his home. You know, it's a visit. And would it be all right? And Madhusudan said, no, Baba, you can't come to my house. You would not, no, don't come to my house. And, I mean, who would say no to Baba? But he was saying no. And Baba said, well, why not? Why would you like me to come? He said, oh, no, Baba, no. It would not be a good idea at all. You should not come to my house. And Baba saying again, tell me, is there a reason? And he said, Baba, you're like an elephant. When you go somewhere, you have all these people coming with you. They would never fit into my small little apartment. How can you possibly come to my house when you have all these people coming with you into my house? There would be no room. So Baba didn't say anything. He said, just let him say. So what does Baba do? Because with Baba, things don't just happen the way you think. So he calls, so Baba says to one of the disciples, call up Madhusudan's wife and ask her if there's any special events that are coming up. So he calls and say, yes, Baba, there is an event, but he's having a birthday, and they're going to celebrate his birthday. Oh, Baba said, okay. Now you tell the wife that Baba wants to come, but it has to be a surprise. It's a surprise. Baba will show up, and it'll be a surprise because he's having a surprise party now. So all this is kept secret. Madhusudan doesn't know anything. I happened to be there at that time. That's why I'm telling you this here. And Bob is going up the stairs to the apartment, and all these people are with him. There was a line of cars behind Baba's car. Everybody wanted to be with Baba, so they would all want to go. And there's a line of cars, and they're all going into the apartment, and somehow there was room. Everybody managed to be in there. So Madhusudan comes home, and what does he see? Baba is sitting there in the chair, and all these people are there, and they're singing happy birthday. Happy birthday to him. And then Baba had Madhusudan sing for him also when he was in his apartment. You can't outfox the fox.
That story is in Bal Natu's in that
Is it
last
in
book,
there
and he
too?
mentions you and Eddie. So,
Well, that story reminded me of another story. We still have a little time left.
Yes, much time is
Reminded me of another story. Baba was traveling with his mandali, the women and the men, in like a caravan they were going. And in those years, they had to go through a territory that they were warned not to go through because there were all these
Dacoits.
huh?
Dacoits.
Yeah, dacoits, that's right.
robbers.
Yeah, robbers and thieves, and they would, any caravan that went through, well, they would stop them and rob them and send them on their way. That's what they were doing. So how does Baba do this? They stop at the village prior to going through that territory, and in that village, there's the head of the thieves. He's the one that runs everything. And they stop in the village, and the thief is thinking, no, this is a plum. This is a prize, all these women and all these men. Oh boy, we're gonna have we'll collect good on this one. So what does Baba do? I forget his name, but the head guy has a son, and the son, and so Baba says, do you like movies? And the son said, oh, yes, I like movies, And Baba says, well, this is Sarosh. He has a movie theater. He can put you in the movies. So when the son hears this, oh boy, yes, I want to go with you and go into the movies. Well, now the son gets into the caravan, and naturally the boss sends the word down, don't touch this caravan. My son is there. Don't touch it. And they just went through. And then by the time they got through that territory, the son began to get homesick. So Baba said, don't you want to go on and with the movies? He says, no, I want to go home. So then they sent him home, but now they had already gone through. You can't outfox the fox, and that's all there is to it. He knew his way around. Well, Baba had quite a mission, visiting all these different places and he's contacting these advanced souls, these monks and things. He did what no one, not even as Avatar, that we have any record of, has ever done. You know, but this time he did. Jai Mayor Baba.
Jai Baba.